Hey folks, Jonathan here. Okay, got you in my little building here. We have not finished the engine out of the BF Goodwrench plant. I gotta get back on it. It's dusty. I gotta wipe it down. We got all the parts cleaned and ready. Still got to build a rod for it, but we're going to get on that really soon and see if we can get this thing back together. It's not going to take long to do, but we have got this engine in, which is the oscillating engine. Have no idea the year of this thing. You know, could be anywhere through the mid to late 1800s. We do know, or have figured out, that having the slide valve up on top was an early and also a no-no because of you know, a lot of problems with the water getting in and it, what we call priming, or getting too much water in the cylinder, because water don't compress. So since it don't compress, if your piston's forced up from the bottom by steam and it forces it into the water on the top, then you're going to have a problem. So anyway, that was changed. Even on I guess the horizontal engines, it was set up different. Most of these things were all vertical. You've very rarely seen any of them that were a horizontal anyway. And like I said, there's only a couple of these, you know, maybe 3 or 4 that I know of for sure. That's in the United States, maybe only 2, well 3 counting this one. But anyway, so we actually have the piston out, and I think we have come to the conclusion that stainless steel was started around 1913 or something, so that rod has been replaced. It's not chrome plated, it is stainless. That was one of the problems that they had with these, because the way these bearings work, this is a Babbitt, but it goes on the rod and it actually rides up and down the rod. So there was issues with them. This one's in, I'm going to say from 1 to a 10, I'd say that's a 10. Really good shape. I don't think there's going to be any issues with it. Let me see. Everything's unstuck. The piston come right out, no problem. It's got 2 rings on the piston, which is kind of normal. Actually ran into a big steam engine, the Harris engine, an 18-inch bore that only had 1 ring on it the other day at the museum, which is kind of odd. But so we're going to continue on this one while we work on everything else. This is a good inside the building job when it's raining and stuff, or when it's so hot you can't stand it outside. I have not loosened the trunnions up. I haven't tried to turn it, so it's still just stuck right there. I'm going to try to get this steam chest off because it's 2-piece. I'm kind of worried about it. I don't want to crack and break it. These studs are holding it. The studs are bolted into the bottom, but they come up through. I need to get that off because I need to machine this. Now I can machine it without taking it apart, but it's going to be a lot easier to do it with it apart. I think this is going to be machined. I'm sure I'm going to either have to machine or at least surface grind the D-cup valve. It's got a strange setup on that, but I'll show you it later. Let me see. This was the correct rod. We was worried about this rod, not knowing if it was correct or not, because it was just stuck in the end of here like that when we got it. Turns out it was backwards, and it does go in, or it was made to go in. Now I'm going to make a new one, but that's that rod went there, and then you can see where it tightened down on the piece that moves the valve back and forth, and you can see where the keyway was. So I think that's going to give us a little bit of the clue of what we need to make. I do know what we're going to run into. There's going to be a lever coming off of that rod that runs to our eccentric, and we don't know the length of that lever. But if I do a little testing, I think I can figure it out pretty easy, because when you turn the engine over, it's going to run the full length, and I don't think there's going to be any problem. I think we're going to get it figured out, and we're going to be able to make this thing run pretty easy. You can hear above me, we got some squirrels that love to eat the big pine cones. So here's the crankshaft for this. The crank pin was missing, which is not a problem. We can turn that out pretty quick and easy. It's not in terrible shape. I mean, the surface of it's kind of dirty and rusty, but it's not pitted or it's not wore or anything like that. The bearings actually look good, just from sitting and raining. I'm probably going to pull this pulley off. I've got an older pulley with a curved spoke flywheel I think I'll put on it. And I think I will put this in the lathe and clean it up. I'm not going to turn it down, and we're not going to rebab it just because the bearings look so good in it. I got to always remind everybody that I'm not restoring these engines, I'm repairing these engines. Now sometimes we might paint them and make them look a little better, but you know, the main thing is to get them back in working order without, you know, doing too much crazy stuff. And if we got to make parts, we make parts. But you know, if there's a babbitt bearing that don't need to be replaced, I'm not going to replace it. I'm not going to go ahead and melt it out and put a new one in, even though there's a lot of people that would do that. And I understand that on a restoration, but again, we're repairing stuff. So anyway, that's where we're at with that. Hey folks, Jonathan here. Okay, we're going to fire today. This is the 20th and Sunday morning, and my son should be here shortly, but we've been working really hard on this engine. A lot of you will probably remember this Erie City Ironworks engine. There's some video of me hammering the piston out with a big bar. It was stuck and a lot of parts missing. This is the one that I made the bearings for. I made the strap. I had to make both wedges. Let me see, made a new rod for it, if you can see it in there. Made a new valve rod, lapped in the D-cup valve. We've got an oiler on it, we've got a governor on it, belts on it. Had to make a plate adapter to put the governor on. And let me see, I hadn't finished it up yet, but I finally found an eccentric. I had to machine it out, but I did find an eccentric to use. And I've got it welded here, but we're gonna do a lot of grinding and taper that to make it look decent, and before we paint everything. And let me see, we made one of the bearings for the crankshaft here, and then this is machinery grout, 8,000 psi concrete. So we actually filled the inside of it up about an inch thick, and that sort of ties it all in. And actually used plumber's putty around this outside edge, and when we poured that concrete in, it come out to the edge, so it's filled in all the way. Probably see it best right here, because I'm not the best brick mason in the world, so you know, it's not perfect, but it is what it is. I like it. So this bearing I had to do a lot of work on. I bought this bearing as a bearing that was supposed to fit the crankshaft. The problem was it did fit the crankshaft when you took the insert out. So I ended up machining the inside of this bearing out, and I could only go 5 inches with my vertical mill. So I actually machined it 5 inches this way, flipped it over, and then machined it 5 inches this way. And there was a little bit of an off line in the center, but it didn't matter because I actually made it into a babbitt bearing. You see, I drilled 2 holes. That was the fill hole. That was the overflow or the vent hole. And so I dammed it up, poured the babbitt, just made it into a babbitt bearing. And for babbitt, you're supposed to use oil, and I guess it's a little better on a babbitt than grease, so I had to actually use a 45 to get the oiler straight to where I could use that. And of course, this is more machinery grout. I haven't cleaned this up or anything. We can make it look a lot better. And it's dirty, and I mean, like I said, we've still got a lot of cleaning to do on it. The crankshaft we have not cleaned up. This is an early engine. This is somewhere around 1865, around Civil War era, according to the serial numbers. And so it is possible, I'm not going to say, you know, I can't pin down a date, but it's a real good possibility that this engine hasn't ran in 100 years and maybe longer. And it was absolutely in terrible shape, and I did not bore it. It has a lot of pitting in the cylinder, and I thought about it this way. It's a steam engine, so it's going to bypass some steam. I don't think it's going to matter. I don't see it hurting it. It's got two 1-inch wide rings in it. I put brand new rings on it because one ring was busted, and I broke the other one getting it off. It's easy to do when they're stuck like they were stuck. I get a little impatient too. But so I bought two new rings and put on it. Honed the cylinder as best we could, but it's still, like I said, it's pitted. But it's not going to use oil, because steam engines don't use oil besides the oil that you want in there. And it's not going to smoke any more than it would normally smoke, so it shouldn't really matter. And we're going to see how it does. And I'll learn a lot from this, but just because of the fact that if it runs decent with a pitted cylinder, and because, you know, I try to tell people I don't restore these engines, I repair them. And all these, even though I had to make parts, it's still just repairing them. So let me see. We got a McCord lubricator on this one. I bought off the internet. I found that for $100. I got real lucky on that one because they're usually, you know, $300 or $400, and it works really well. I had to do a little work to it. So what you do is, it's a mechanical that runs off the valve linkage here, and it pumps, and it'll pump, I think 500 psi or something. It's way more pressure than what their steam pressure is, so it overruns the steam pressure. But what it does is it comes up this line, and this is a one-way check valve. So the steam will come in, or the oil will go in, but the steam can't come out and come back into your box, unless you had a bad one. And this governor I bought from a friend of mine, and we cleaned it all up, and it's a really early Gardner, and so it's, I'm not going to say it's period correct, but it's close. And I bought that pulley off of eBay, which matches this pulley. The only bad thing, I didn't retime the eccentric on the crankshaft, and you can tell by these things when you work on them which way they was rotating according to how they had it timed. Now this is rotating clockwise from here. I think it would look better rotating counterclockwise, but I didn't want to break that eccentric loose on that crankshaft, so we're going to run it like that at least today. If it runs, I don't know, we'll see. Like I said, all these parts I had to make, and then and I had to peen. I think everybody's seen me, or a lot of you may have seen me put the piston on the rod, but I had to peen the end of it, or brad it, or what they used to call it was rivet it. And that's just where you heat the end of the rod and hammer it, and that keeps it from pulling out of the piston. So that's all done. You can see I got sort of a little piece of rag stuffed in each one of these, and that way your oil just don't run directly down in and it's gone. You can fill it up. Got all these oilers on, and let me see, we've done the exhaust around, and I was going to do it up, I just haven't done it yet. So I'll put an elbow on it, run it straight up. We've got our drains for the top and lower, upper and lower part of the cylinder. Someone has made this head at one time. Had no idea how long ago. Like I said, we're going to try to run it, see how it does. And it's the first time in a long time. I appreciate everybody that checked up on me there about the storm. We were too far east. I tried to answer everybody, but I know I probably missed a few. But we were well east of the storm, so we didn't have any issues there. And my little cart, I've been riding that thing around all over the place. This thing's nice, especially right now, because I'm having some problems with one of my heels. And so I'm limping around anyway. But let me see, I bought another steam engine, of course. I bought another Corliss. It's called a Weather Ill, made in Chester, Pennsylvania, 14-foot flywheel. So the biggest thing I got, my Bates, my Hamilton, my other Bates, and my Frick is all 10-foot flywheels. This happens to be a 14-foot. And picking it up this week, I've got all the other parts besides the flywheel, the main body, the crank, and a few of the other heavy parts. So we're going to get the heavy parts this week, and hopefully we'll have it here. And it is a really, really nice engine, not missing any parts, complete, and you know, basically ready to put together. It's been sandblasted and primed, and it went through a couple of people. One guy had passed away and they sold it. Another guy bought it, and then he has passed away. And you get that a lot. The only problem is usually you have parts missing. It's kind of funny, I went over to get the engine, or to look at the engine, and of course pay for it. And when I got there, The guy had all the parts in a building, so this stuff's never been out in the weather or anything, but it was in a building, and it was up on the shelves, and he had like a gate in front of each shelf, and it was kind of weird. And he told me, my dad put that there because he didn't want none of us kids touching anything. He wanted to make sure that nothing got lost. And this one is an early one. It's I'm going to say late 1870s, early 1880s. It's got all the wood slatting on the side of the steam chest, and it actually came with the wood. One of them, either him or the guy before him, had new wood made, so or not made, cut out. Of course, you don't make wood; it grows. But anyway, that's the deal with that. So we're gonna run today, and I'll do a little bit of video here and there. And I haven't, been keeping up and doing any videos, but it's been pretty rough here lately, and having issues with a little bit of everything medically, and we're making it. We're doing good though. Everything will be fine, and keep at it. Hamilton's not together yet. We still got to get the rod and piston done. It's just about ready to run, but it's really close. But we'll get it. All right, I'll show you some more.
You let me know I get out there with you.
Oh, you're fine.
Oh, we're all the way down anyway. There we go. I'm a nervous wreck. One more stuff. Keep that for happening. Hey, I'm Dan. Russell. Good to meet you, Russell. You as well. Yep.
All right, this is gonna be the first time running it right here. Possibly over 100 years.
Thank you, Mikey. That should take it. Well, yeah, go on down, Jordan. You might have to give it up a little quicker to get it to go fast. And I might have to retime it too. Yeah. Where's it going? Why is it wanting to do that? That old original ass gas guy, I should have thought it was left one time.
Well,
Maybe. Might not even get it. Probably not. Do right thing.
you're too far advanced.
Yeah. It's we'll loosen that up and hammer it down a little bit. I hope I got enough gas in them bearings. I gotta get past that center line a little more. Alright, get good. You ready? All right, folks, there you go. Got a little bit of work to do, but
It's running really well. I'm tickled with it. We got a little bit of play here, which is an easy fix. Gonna work on the packings a little bit. No doubt about it. Alright folks, got the basin all loaded. We just pulled it up on. It's heavy, but I don't know how heavy, but we've got it loaded, and now we still got the base plates, the crankshaft, main bearing.
I'll let you know how heavy.
You'll let me know how heavy? Well, you know it's gonna be heavy because this truck here, the 7.3, is gutless. Gutless, I say. Now this one here, so you'd be better off having this trailer behind this truck. But I've only got 26,000 GVW on this truck. And a lot of people don't know, North Carolina wreckers unlimited. Well, unrestricted, let's just put it that way. In other words, I can get by with a lot more weight behind the wrecker than I can with behind the truck. And I think I would be better to ask for forgiveness for that than I would be to have the truck overweighted. So that's why we're pulling the trailer with the wrecker, even though it's weak. And we'd probably pull it faster behind the other truck with the other truck still loaded. So this is the exact reason I don't like covering stuff up. As you can see, everything that gets covered ends up rusting. And now look what the amp's done. Now luckily this was oiled good. Hopefully that oil was oiled good too and we can get it cleaned up, but that's a big crankshaft. Alright, that looks good on there. We gotta load some more stuff on there though. Alright, we're gonna get this other flywheel on this other side. They're somewhere between 55 and 106,000 pounds a piece. I'd say they're probably a little closer to 5,500, probably about 11,000 pound flywheel. Now this is a foot bigger than the one at the that we moved at Godwin from the Williams estate. And see, we got smart on this one. We marked in the center of the trailer with blue marker. That way when we loaded our first one, we get it exactly where it needed to be. That way we can put them together. I like to haul them like that, and you can chain them together and strap them down. Right. Okay folks, so we've got the Weather-Ill Corliss engine. It's here, haven't messed with it yet. We've ran the Erie engine, as you can see in the video, runs good. Now we've got I'm going to change this flywheel out, but for now we've got this oscillating engine painted up, and of course it's running good. Hopefully either I've already put the video in or of it running, or I'm going to. It's alive! Can't see it. Alright, so we've got no packing nut on the valve. Everything else seems to be pretty good. One of them bad days for steam because it's cold out. There we go. So I've got a nut to make that packing. We're running it on the little tiny boiler, so. Alright. So how many you reckon that these are running today? I haven't done any videos in a long time, but you know, just figured I'd do an update here. Probably a little bit long because I've got a lot of video, but anyway, so we're going to run all this stuff this coming weekend. Again, I ran last weekend, and this is Monday, and now we're going to run again probably either Saturday or Sunday. And it'll probably be the last time for this year anyway. So, all right, everything's going good. Made a lot of parts for this. I made the done all the surface in there. Made the rod. Made the linkage. Made the crank pin. Had to machine that. Had to make a packing nut. Machined the piece for the pipe fitting because everything was. There's no pipe fittings on this, and it could be because it's so old. Also, the piston is really weird. They didn't have expandable rings until, well, in England in 1852, 1854, through there. This don't have really expandable rings. It's got rings on it that has got 3 springs inside of the piston that expand them out. And I'll show you some pictures of that. So it's got 2 rings on the outside of the piston, 1 big ring on the inside of the piston, and then 3 small springs with bolts that you adjust out. You take the top off the piston while it's in the cylinder, adjust them out, and then put the top back on the piston and put the head on. So You know, it's just early technology. But this is a really nice engine. It's not really restored. I mean, we didn't go through and redo the valve and stuff, which it didn't need it at all. So I don't do anything we don't need. You know, we repair engines. We don't restore them really. So this is just fixed to run, painted up, all new gaskets. All the surfaces have been machined and put together because this thing was in really rough shape. And I'm working on possibly some exhaust of some sort, which is going to be kind of tough, but anyway, we'll figure it out. All right. Appreciate everybody watching. Till next time. Bye.